Ladies and gentlemen, let me briefly introduce a project of applied research carried out at the Department of Roman Studies of the Faculty of Arts, consisting in building a multilingual legal terminology database named LegTerm. The aim of the project is twofold. Firstly, to provide translators with a quality tool for translating legal terminology, and secondly, to involve students of translation studies in the creation of this tool, confronting them with the problems that legal texts pose to translators. What is the main problem of legal translation? I first came across it about 20 years ago when I taught legal French both in courses for philologists and in courses for lawyers. Unlike lawyers, philologists were usually unable to recognize technical terms in the legal text because they were not aware of the legal concepts lying behind these terms. When translating a legal text, they basically proceeded in the same way as a statistical machine translator does. They only converted forms without understanding the content in the vain hope that the correct meaning would come on its own accord. This is due to the very nature of the language of national law, in which the individual meanings of the terms are closely linked not only to a particular language, but also to a specific legal system. So what kind of tool could help philologist translators? It cannot be a quality translation dictionary, because the dictionary is in principle based on comparing forms and it assumes that the users know their meanings. Therefore, with a team of colleagues and students, we started preparing the design of a new terminology database specifically designed for multilingual processing of professional legal terminology of national law. LegTerm is inspired by Termium Plus, a very large Canadian terminology database based on concepts conceived as atomic abstract units of specialized meaning. However, Termium Plus relies on the universality of concepts, which means basically on the fact that the meaning of the terms such as sulfuric acid does not depend on language, culture, or legal system. LegTerm, on the other hand, is designed so that it clearly captures these differences and also takes into account the fact that legal concepts, meanings, and legal forms, terms, can change dynamically over time depending on changes in legislation. Let us look now on two simple examples. If we want to translate in Czech the French term mariage, the database tells us that the corresponding legal concept civil marriage also exists in Czech. Here it bears the status valid for the Czech Republic, and it can be translated by the Czech term manželství. However, the Czech concept does not have the same extension. It applies only on persons of different sexes, whereas the French concept may involve also persons of the same sex. This information can be inferred either from the definitions here or from the usage note here. Let us have a look on the second example. If we want to translate the French term société par action simplifiée into Czech, we find from the database that the corresponding legal concept does not exist in Czech Republic, so it has the status non-valid here. It is possible to suggest a Czech term for it in the database, for example, zjednodušená akciová společnost, but the database informs us that such a name names a foreign concept denomination which is not part of the Czech legal system. In this way, the translator has all the information he needs to decide which equivalent is appropriate for the given context. The pilot version of the LegTerm database has been available since summer 2020 at the internet address legterm.cz. Master and PhD students of Romance languages are involved in the preparation and processing of data, and we cooperate also with Sofia Translation Agency, whose IT managers were very interested in our pilot version. The project is also co-financed by the GREAT agency of the University of South Bohemia from the project Use of Computation Techniques in Discourse Analysis.